Welcome back. This is part 3 of the 8.1 through 8.4 review video for the quiz. So part 1 covered the first section, part 2 covered the second section, and part 3 is covering factoring by a GCF. Okay, so let's take a gander. We have factoring polynomials by a GCF. Now there's a few ways of doing this. I've taught it different ways. It just depends on the style of the kiddo. Usually this is the way I choose to do it. I'm going to factor. That means I put a vinculum under each one of these because I'm going to divide something out that they both have in common. Specifically, the greatest thing they have in common. So I ask myself this: what do these two chunks of math have in common? Do they both have letters? Do they both have a number that I can divide out equally? Is there a number that equally divides out of 3 and 9? What is that number? That number is 3, right? So I put the 3 in the front. 3 divided by 3 is 1x minus 9 divided by 3 is 3. Your final answer is this. You're done. You factored out the greatest thing that you could, and that happened to be a 3. That's it. That's all you could take out. You could check your answer by distribution, and it would go back to the original. Now that works for the majority of kids, that kind of technique. You might be a kid that goes, I need something more. Okay, cool. Here's the more. When in doubt, we're going to write these out. 3 times x is also known as 3.x. Minus 9 is known as 3 times 3. I have 2 chunks of information, chunk 1, chunk 2. My job is to find out what they have in common, not specifically what they have, the greatest thing they have in common. I see they both have a 3 in common. I'm going to take the 3 out, put it out front by 3. Your chunk is missing a 3, and then I'm going to see what's left over. In this chunk, I have an x left over after I took that 3 out. And this chunk, I have a 3. Same answer I got before, just another way of looking at it, okay? Next, what's the greatest thing that I can factor out of 12, 15, and 6? That is a 3. Do all 3 have the same letter I can take out? Do all have an x? No. Do all of them have a y? No. Do all of them have a z? No. They don't have that in common, so I can't take it out. The greatest common factor, the biggest thing that I can take out that all 3 of them have is taking out a 3. So that's going to be 4x because 12 divided by 3 is 4, and you can put the x. Now remember, a multiplication chart, you can also divide. If you don't know how to do that, come by at lunch and I can show you. 15 divided by 3, 5, but it's going to be 5y. And then 6 divided by 3 is 2, and that's z. That's your final answer. You can literally distribute, check it, and it will go right back to the original. Now some of you are going, what does that look like with that other technique? Well, if you broke down 12, that's going to be 2 times 2 times 3 times x. 15 is going to be 3 times 5 times y. And 6 is going to be 2 times 3 times z. So basically I used a factor tree and I broke down all 3 chunks. So we have chunk 1, chunk 2, and chunk 3. And we're asking ourselves, what's the greatest thing that they have in common? And that is a 3, a 3, and a 3. That's the only thing I see. Like these two both have a 2, but he doesn't, so I can't take it out. So the 3 is the greatest thing that I can take out, and I'm left with 4x plus 5y plus 2z. Same answer as I got before. Maybe that style, floats your boat better. I don't know. You got to figure out the way your brain needs, and then go with it. Don't fight it. Our brains are wired beautifully and uniquely. Go with what your brain needs, not what I need. Your brain. Your brain's beautiful and perfect. Go with that. Okay? Next, I see that both of these, like if I wrote this one out, so that's 5xx. This is 5 because 5 times 5 is 25x. What do they have in common? So here's part 1 and part 2. They both have a 5, but they also have an x in common. So I'm going to take out a 5x, put that in front. That's your greatest common factor. It's the biggest thing that you can take out that both of them have. What's left? A single x, because we took that out. What's left here? A 5. And you can totally totally check that answer using distribution if you wanted to. Next, we can use that read it out method. So that's 2xx done. 5xxxxx. So here's part 1 and part 2. What do they have in common? Well, it sure isn't a number. You don't have a 2, you don't have a 5. So they don't have a number in common, but they have some x's. They have 2 x's in common. So I'm going to put x squared in front because that's what I'm taking out because that's what they have in common. And now let's see what's left. A 2 minus a 5 and 3 x's. Cool. Now if you want to stop the video here and then try this little batch by yourself, I would highly recommend it, okay? I'm going to keep going. 6 is 2 times 3 times x, and 24 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. So that's 6x, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 3 is 24. Now we're going to see what they have in common. Oh, they have a 2, oh, and a 3, but they don't have a letter in common. So we're going to take out that 2 times 3 in the front, because that's what we're taking out from both of them. We're putting it in the front. But 2 times 3 is 6, so let's make it a 6. We have an x left over plus a 4. Done. Here, the only thing I can take out is a 2. They don't have much in common here. It's going to be 11x squared minus 7x minus 3. And you could do it the other technique as well. Okay. This one is a great one. It's 222xxx plus 223x. When in doubt, I wrote it out. I'm looking for things they have in common so I can bring them out. So when in doubt, I wrote it out. Look for things in common to bring it out. So let's look what they have in common. They definitely have a 2. You're like, can I just stop there? That's called a common factor. We want the greatest common factor. So we got to keep going. The 3 is not in common, and that's an extra 2 not in common. But they do have an x, a single x. So I'm going to take that out from both. But what is 2 times 2? It's 4. So let's make it the 4. 4x is what they have in common. You have 2x squared left over plus 3. Cool. Last but not least, that beautiful one right there. Let's check it out. We have 223xxx minus 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure your writing's legible as well. Sometimes I can't read your writing, so I don't know that you can read your writing. So slow it down. I always give double time on tests, so if I think something's a 30-minute quiz, I give you an hour. You can take your time. You can literally shut your eyes for a moment and just go, be at the beach or something, like in your brain, like mellow your brain out, take a little mental health break for 60 seconds, right? You have plenty of time. They don't have a 2 in common. They have a 3. They definitely have some x's. They have 1, 2, 3. So we have to take the greatest they have in common. The 3x cubed is what I'm taking out of both. Bye. Adios. What do I have left? A 4. And over here I have a 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4. X to the 4. Cool beans. That's your quiz. I am going to add some kind of open-ended questions, so you won't have this many questions on the front of your test, I promise you. But I made some really cool, like, open-ended questions on the back. Hey, exciting. Thanks for coming. Please watch all 3 videos. You can watch them as many times as you'd like. You can come in for lunch help. I'd love to see you. But you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. So, and you have to be part of your own rescue. So if your grade is kind of on the lower side, I can't save someone who's not willing to be a part of their own rescue. That means I'm here for you. I encourage certain kids to come in at lunch, and then I never see them. And then I ask, hey, did you watch the videos? No. Did you do the homework? No. Did you notice the test alert? I sent you the study guide and the key. No. I don't look at my emails. Okay. I'm literally throwing out lifesavers to rescue kids here, and I just have kids just saying, not interested. So I really want you to change that, right? And change, it's a habit. That kind of, I don't care, is a habit. We need to break it. So come on in. I'd love to help you. Love to see you. See you. Bye.